go traffic in this car, it's not its strong suit. It's so exciting to drive. And then there's a cop. Which, you know, honestly, at this point, if I get pulled over, I guess I get pulled over. I am so afraid of getting a ticket here. So it's a scorching hot day here in Florida, but we just titled and tagged our Aston Martin, and now it is time for officially what is my first drive in the Aston Martin. It's been a week and a half since we got the car and we can finally drive it. Nick drove it up here. I've not really had the chance to drive it spiritedly yet, so I think that means it's time. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
This is not dignified. For those of you wondering how hot it is on a Florida day like today, the answer is very. So, foot on the brake, key in. Alright, now I gotta let it kiss the clutch apparently. Check tires, low tire pressure. One thing at a time. Oh, it's hot. It is hot, like miserably hot. You are dripping. Alright, so we're gonna pull out of the tag title place and hopefully this goes well. Hopefully. So I've not really driven the car on real roads. I mean, I drove up and down Peninsula and a bit down A1A, but that's pretty much it.
The biggest struggle for me coming over here was first into second. So I'm curious how Patrick will handle that.
Okay, I think I'm clear.
Clear my way.
You wouldn't believe the blind spots this thing has. It's actually ridiculous. Honestly, there's a brake squeaking very badly. I suspect it's stuck just from the squeaks it's making, but this car is actually, just to be honest, a lot more difficult to drive than I thought it would be. You know, when we were watching the videos, everyone's like, it's a moderately easy car to drive, and true, to a point it is, but it makes me wonder, like, what is the Lamborghini Gallardo like?
I don't know, because everybody says that's easy compared to a Murcielago, right? So like,
which I really, at this point in my life, way too experienced to drive. Obviously, if I'm saying this is a bit difficult. But one thing I will say about the Aston, on the way up here, I was in the passenger seat, and I could just look over to the side, and I would occasionally see just how beautiful this car is. You would see its reflection driving down A1A, and it was just stunning. It's truly stunning. It's a work of art. But the Aston is currently saying it's 111 degrees out here. And I can believe it. So first gear. So the Aston has a crawl setting, which allows the car to essentially just crawl at slow speeds in first gear in reverse. It's awful. I get it's better than nothing, and for the sport shift, the original sport shift, it's not too bad, but it's pretty atrocious. Like, its low speed maneuvering is just garbage.
and what is interesting is it's like nothing and then everything.
Yeah, and I understand that's the benefit to the manual transmission itself, but I will say it is just a pleasure to drive this car. I mean, it's just a pure, like, it's really annoying at low speeds, but I don't think once you get up to speeds, like, I don't think there is a better car, because it's almost, it's a sports car, but in the same regard, it is a very GT car.
Yep.
I mean, we're taking it to Orlando Friday for service, and I think that's going to be a phenomenal trip, assuming we don't get stuck in traffic.
We might take a little more of a scenic route, especially on the way back, to maybe avoid that.
Train tracks. It is interesting because when you're actually driving the car, and this is a little weird, you stop realizing you're actually in something so special, and you just kind of become connected with the road. Like, you're not thinking about how amazing the car is you're driving, you're just driving. There's a Rolls-Royce Cullinan. God, they're fucking ugly. God, it's squeaking badly. What is that squeak? I think it's the brakes.
Front brake.
I think it just needs to be braked. Needs a brake check. God, it's hot in here. I forgot how hot it gets recording these automotive videos.
Yeah, and we've got, I don't think we have it on full blast, but
No, we have it on, I believe, 1.
yeah.
Or, no, it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just brakes sticking.
So there's a 911 coming up next to us, and like every time I see a 911 now, I look at them and go, why did you buy the 911 and not the Vantage? And I suppose it's because the 911 doesn't make a strange squeak at 5 miles an hour.
Or 25 miles.
But no, in all seriousness, I realize the 911 is a really pretty car. But it's not this pretty. Stop and go traffic in this car, it's not its strong suit. One thing I do like about this car over like the 4 Series, for example, is the column mounted paddle shifters, because every time I drive the 4 Series, I use the paddle shifters. I think it's ridiculous not to. But it's when you're turning, it's incredibly difficult to try to use the paddles, but in this thing, where they're right there, they're always there. And I know there's a huge difference in a 4 Series and a Vantage, but it's nice. And then, you know, like, you get into 4th gear at 35 miles an hour, and it's just normal. A little bumpy, but normal. I don't know how fast that was, because the speedometer's not showing, but it felt fast. What I really meant to do, though, is try to get out of here, and it doesn't seem like that's happening. I don't know. I'm sure everyone has heard horror stories about the navigation system in these, but it's as bad as people say. Like, I sat there forever trying to figure it out. You know, one of the actual reasons that I wanted this car so much is I watched Matt Mara, what's his name? I know him as Subaru WRX fan. They have a Viper.
They do have a Viper.
That's a pretty Viper. Anyway, I know him as Subaru WRX fan. Anyway, his review of the Vantage just absolutely, it was hilarious. It was so comical. The entire time he was just laughing, talking about how great of a thrill it is to drive. And I think that right there was what made me go, I think I want a Vantage. Minus the fact that you can't drive the speed limit, even if you intend to. Ours is out of ink. Which is surprising. That means over the course of 14... Oh, we passed 14,000 miles.
We did it. We actually registered it with 13,999 miles on it.
That's pretty impressive. This light takes a long time.
It does.
But honestly, once you like get comfortable in the car and like start driving, it's really not that bad.
Yeah. Like, I think driving it on the interstate to Orlando is going to be a pleasure.
Do you? Because I don't have that feeling. It's so exciting to drive. Oh, and then there's cop. Which, you know, honestly, at this point, if I get pulled over, I guess I get pulled over.
I I'm trying to see if the suspension changed at all.
It does. Very slightly, I think.
Yeah. I think like we went over a pothole. Yeah.
That or the steering loosens up. And that may be it. I think we've got an arrow to get over. One thing I will say, the mirrors, where they are so extended out from the rest of the car, they're actually not a blind spot. And see, I figured that the mirrors in this car would actually just point at the inside of the car. But they don't, and it's actually quite nice. In fact, I was a little worried that I would be timid by this car and a little scared to drive it and a little uncomfortable while I was in it. And you don't really feel that way at all.
No, the only time I feel that way is like whenever I'm pulling in. I'm still not comfortable pulling into like parking lots and stuff because I don't know clearances or anything, so I'm like very friggin' timid. And so we were actually pulling into the title agency there because I drove it there, Patrick drove it now, and when I was pulling in I had to cut it in because it's quite the angle. We didn't scrape, but a van cut in and tried to like
right behind us and like tried to overtake us in the middle of the intersection. It was odd.
Yeah, so anyway, just stuff like that. It's kind of like where I'm still timid, which will, as we drive the car and figure out clearances and stuff, it'll be easier.
One thing I will say, and like it kind of amazes me because like I don't think people assume that it takes a second to get going in this car. So they'll like get right up on your ass.
Yeah.
At a red light and like oh, I-Pace. Oh, it's an interesting little car. They'll get right up on you. But it does take a second to like get it to move forward. Whereas I think most automatics you just start crawling forward naturally. This doesn't.
I think it would be a funny video.
No, I disagree. Used, this is better than the DB9. Syphilis is better than the DB9, but
I think we should do a video of Patrick playing with the Aston Martin tech because it's horrible.
I can't fathom anything.
Like, even I think I should just make a list of things that he needs to do and he has to complete them. But there's a mailman.
Damn it! Well, that was intoxicating.
But yes, I think we should make a video of you playing with tech in the Aston, and I'll give you a list of like set to destination to this point, and set up Bluetooth on your phone. Like,
so here's the thing: I was reading through the handbook last night because that's just kind of what I do. I just read through handbooks, and some of the stuff that this car has, it's not tech advanced. It's just awful. It's truly garbage. Whoa! All right, city traffic. Not my favorite thing in this car. I'm good after third gear. After third gear, I'm fine. Or third gear and above.
that's how I was when I was driving it too.
I just accidentally skipped a gear. That's really weird. This car is wonderful to drive. I can't imagine. Yeah, the R8 was one of the contenders for this car, and we'll talk about this in another video. But like, the R8 was on the list of cars that we were looking at, and this in every way just looks, feels, and seems like more of an experience to me. Now, Jess doesn't think so, but I do. After all, it's our money.
Yes.
So, I don't know. I've always loved this generation of Aston Martin. The styling by Fisker is it's just incredible. The waterfall dash that they have now, or that they had in this generation, the dashboard they have now just doesn't really do it for me. It just looks overly complicated. It looks ridiculous compared to this is. And ultimately, this is a sports car. But in my mind, it's a sports GT car. And that's exactly what this feels like it would be good at. I feel like it would be just as comfortable going to the country club as it would be going to the track, as it would be having fun down back roads. And I think that's why, to me, the Aston Martin is so special, because it just kind of does everything perfectly. It's truly an amazing car. And it looks, the previous generation R8 aged pretty well. This aged beautifully as a GT car. Now, if you look at it as an exotic supercar, it aged very poorly, and it doesn't look like that at all. It looks like a sports GT car.
Sorry, I've just been looking at the window, watching it pass through the glass.
Yeah,
It's stunning.
it really is. I am in love with this car. I think I want to marry it. Oh wait, we did today.
That's fair. We technically had our marriage ceremony. It was in a titled an office center.
Once you get into fourth gear, it's actually very quiet. Still very hot.
Very hot here. But it's almost like you don't care because you're in an Aston Martin.
No, at the moment I care. Very hot. And we'll switch over to the Peninsula here. No, I'm not. I thought that bus was stopping, and that made me really mad.
Yes, I also thought the bus was stopping.
One of the things, we grew up in a small town where...
You could cut over.
I'm afraid to. We grew up in a small town where buses weren't really a thing. We didn't really have buses in Morristown, Tennessee. But they do here, which is fine and all, but I'm still not used to driving with them.
You never know if you're going to be on, like, close to that hill. Clear this way.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I can't see jack shit this way. Okay, so, alright, sorry for the change in camera. Both of the GoPros seem to have overheated at the exact same time, right under hard acceleration, which was shocking because it went beep, 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 and I thought I broke the car. But anyway, we are now about to just wrap up this video, so I figured we'll go ahead and wrap up here, and then I'll actually drive the car back home and actually enjoy it for a moment, because I've not really had that chance yet. But yeah, this was my first drive in the Aston Martin. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in next week's video, which again is all about the Aston Martin. It's actually going to be a full, detailed, in-depth tour of the inside of the Aston Martin, because I've never seen anyone really go through the infotainment system. So we're going to talk about all of the different little features of the inside of the car. Anyway guys, I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Actually, it may be Jess. I'm not sure what it'll be. Anyway.